So after going to the emergency room and basically hitting rock bottom and having the doctors just tell me that I should switch from Cipralex to Zoloft, I'm decided to go back to the one thing that's ever helped. And yes, this is a very tiny dose for me, at least. I'm pretty sure it's small for everyone, but I'm gonna do it, and this will be proof, if it works, literal proof that this works better than any pharmaceuticals for at least some people. Or, we'll see. But I have high hopes. Literally praying to the spirit of the universe that will let me see what I need to see.
Hi. Sorry that I didn't continue with the trip, but despite the small amount, I was actually completely obliterated by it, to the point that I went into a dreamlike trance that made me think I fell asleep. I couldn't stand, I didn't move, I could barely grasp hold of my thoughts, and probably partially because I hadn't done it in so long that I wasn't used to the effects. Also, partially because I eyeballed it, and partially because after showing how much I was taking, I obviously took more because I always have that mentality of I could get higher. So anyway, to say that the effects, this is 5 days after. To say that the effects were substantial is an understatement. To say that my life has changed overnight is an understatement. To say that this is the one thing out of about 9 months of pure hell that I went through that has actually significantly, and when I say significantly, I mean night and day, made a mark on my life, made a mark on my recovery, made a mark on my clarity of mind, my peace of mind, my ability to, again, see outside myself. Because depression is a very self-absorbed kind of disease. You're very into yourself. You can't really focus on what's going on around you because there's so much going on inside. I'm now able to empathize with other people. I'm able to see what they're going through, and even seeing strangers in public, I'm able to, instead of first seeing them as negative or kind of like mean people, which I guess you do get when you're kind of depressed or you're anxious, I see everybody as likable, or initially likable, or likable until proven guilty or whatever. And honestly, though I've been in a great mood for 5 days. I've been positive, productive. I've been able to leave the house. I've been going for walks every day. I've been going out. I made my boyfriend breakfast. I've done all this stuff that I could not possibly have done a week ago. Could not possibly have done for the last 9 months, okay? And that's me being on so many antidepressants, so many benzos, different types, been on just antidepressants, couldn't move, was the worst point of my life, to now being on nothing, no medication for a week and a half now, no SSRIs. And I literally came out of a black hole because, as in the beginning of this video you can see, I was pretty down in the dumps. It was my last straw. This was my last chance of just it's either this or I'm fucked, really. And it worked. And I'll tell you a bit of the trip report. So I took the shrooms. I didn't feel anything for an hour. All of a sudden, I started getting the come up. I was feeling very nervous. My mom and sister were also home, so I wasn't able to fully have a very fun recreational trip. I couldn't cry because I didn't want them to hear. I couldn't really say anything. I usually talk to myself during it, talk myself through it, but I couldn't. So it wasn't exactly, I wasn't in the clearest mind space, obviously, to choose when to do the trip, but I just knew that it had to be done. So as I got higher, I had very racing thoughts that didn't make sense. The typical come-up thoughts that are very elusive, and you're like, what the heck am I thinking right now? And then it plateaued to a voice in my head that said, quote, Sarah, listen, you do not have to worry about this right now. You do not even have to be aware right now, because we're going to fix this. We're breaking down every one of your cells. We're going to rebuild them, and we're going to fix this right now. So relax and wait for it to be done, because this is not going to be fun. And when I say it was not fun, I tell you it was the most painful, bad trip I've ever been through in my life. I could not move. I was shaking. I was completely just obliterated. I had images of how much my family and friends were going through, because you could finally see it from an objective point of view compared to how isolated I'd been in my own problems, and it hurt like a fucking bitch. I realized how much I was hurting myself and how much my negative thought patterns were influencing me. I lived through that, but it knocked me out, and I've never fell asleep on shrooms before. I've never been so obliterated, and it's literally like the shrooms told me that was going to happen, because they said you don't even have to be here for this. That's what they said. Like, it's almost like a surgery they performed on me. Like, they literally knocked me out, performed a surgery on any kind of problems I was having, and then I woke back up and I was almost sober. And I had hallucinations a lot. I didn't lose my sense of ego loss at all. I didn't take a very high amount, but it was messed up compared to other times I've had. But to say that it made a significant difference in my life and literally gave me hope again is a fucking understatement. And I would be happy right now if I wasn't so fucking angry, deeply angry at pharmaceutical industry and the fact that they profit off of using people as guinea pigs, off of hiding legitimate information about SSRIs and the dangers of them from the public. And if you don't believe me, honestly, the hidden harms of antidepressants. This is a study by, most comprehensive analysis studied by the BMJ, researchers at the Nordic Cochrane Center in Copenhagen, that shows that pharmaceutical companies have not been revealing the full extent of serious harm in clinical studies reports. And this is a legitimate study, and if you want to go look that up, I'm sure you can Google that. I'll put it in the link, but it's costing people lives to put these drugs on the market that nobody knows how they fucking work a lot of the time. Nobody really knows the extent of how SSRIs work. They're barely better than placebos in so many studies, compared to a drug that is so harmless that it has been listed as one of the least harmless drugs available, shrooms, completely natural, and has studies that fully prove that not only are there short-term effects of taking a one dose, but 6 months to a year, positive effects in people from one dose. And I am full proof, and I promise you that I will keep updating you with this, and I'm on no drugs. I'm going to a psychopharmacologist today, probably just to debate with him about this, but I have been to so many places in Western psychiatry that have tried to prescribe me drugs, that have tried to, if I told them that this drug is literally driving me insane, which it did, I was fine. I was not fine, I was depressed before. But taking Cipralex, I went from depressed to borderline psychotic. And as soon as I came off of them, slowly getting better. And now better. And feeling better than I have in so long, and so much more clear, hopeful. I can read a fucking book again. And to say that is a fucking miracle on my half. To say that I could read this magazine, that I wanted to read this magazine, that I could focus long enough is a fucking miracle for the last 9 months. And to keep this potential serious cure, I'm not even a fucking scientist. I'm not a psychotherapist. If a psychotherapist were to administer shrooms to me, can you imagine what the benefits could have been and could be? And for so many other people too. And if you want to look more into this, there's an organization called MAPS, and I'll put in the link in the description, and they actually do advocate the study of MDMA for post-traumatic stress disorder, and I believe mushrooms for depression too. And places like these need to be funded and allowed to do their fucking research, and not because pharmaceutical companies can't patent shrooms and therefore can't make money off of them, because I guarantee that is the only reason that shrooms are not being researched as they should be right now.